So people might be looking at us right now and be like, "Oh, these guys are touching on some conspiracies, or just having about some nonsense and whatnot."
I wanted to definitely talk about this because like people think like only illegal immigration is affecting us, but there is the legal side that's also like affecting us tremendously.
Suchir Balaji was an artificial intelligence researcher and former employee of OpenAI.
It's our responsibility and everyone else doing it to be truthful about every scenario.
My head automatically goes to, okay,
We're going back into the elites, right? You should keep them accountable as always. And guys, look, at the end of the day, I'm not here to be like, "Oh, let this, write this." No, no. I want to be in the center. Guys, welcome to episode number 2 of Across the Board Talk, where every topic's in play and nothing's off the board. We have a bunch of things to cover, starting with the recent terror attacks that happened in the States. We got the mass immigration in both Canada and the US, both legal and illegal, pros and cons of it. We have Biden's recent D.O.D directive. We have robots and its fast advancements. Ex-OpenAI engineer who allegedly recently killed himself. The fog phenomenon with some football news, exciting football news. And then at the end, we're just going to let loose with some reaction videos and some fun. So guys, let's dive right into it.
Like what was saying, we recently had in the States 2 allegedly terrorist attacks, one being in Las Vegas and the other in New Orleans in famous Bourbon Street, where Elvis Presley grew up and started performing in. And, thoughts and prayers out to all the people that are affected by it and whatnot, but we got to dive in and talk about it. So I'm going to pull up here a clip of the first terror attack that happened in New Orleans, where a guy rented a Ford Lightning electric pickup truck and essentially drove through a crowd of people and had no regard for human life. So here I'm going to play a quick clip of him driving through the streets shortly before people are partying and whatnot, and you can see, they're having fun. It's New Year's, girls and guys alike, and so mass panic ensues.
Oh,
Damn.
my
Damn.
god!
People get chopped.
no.
Oh, I've never
Oh,
seen
man.
this. I've never seen this clip. That girl.
Damn.
Oh my god.
What happened to that girl?
Mass panic.
that-
Well, if you want to see what happened to that girl,
No, no, no. We're not going to play the whole thing, the
This
graphic
guy.
stuff.
Oh,
Hey.
wait, is that a person?
that is
Yeah, bro.
Oh my
It's
god.
unfortunate.
Yo.
Oh my
Very-
god.
Yeah, we can't post that part, but that's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, and so touching on the second terrorist attack, just giving you some background imagery and whatnot, you'll see when moments before leading up to when the guy outfitted the cyber truck with explosives, parked in front of the Trump Hotel, and essentially, from reports that I've read, he shot himself beforehand and then allowed the IED to go off.
Wait.
Turned
Are
on
those
fireworks?
Are those fireworks?
Yeah, the back of the truck was filled with fireworks and a couple improved IEDs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And this guy had a manifesto saying things along the line of the country being led by weak leaders, etc. And that's just one of the things that is starting to bring a rise in these situations. Weak leadership, and people are being fed up, and then you got crazy guys coming around and doing harm, trying to send a message, and which is absolutely insanity. And then the first clip that we saw with the truck, and all this ties into. We're gonna speak further on it in the later topics, but this also can, these guys they're citizens of America, like American citizens that did these things, horrible things, but they still, like the second guy with the first guy with the truck, he pledged allegiance to ISIS, which is insane.
they're not just any like regular citizens. They're ex-military, And what's
Yeah.
crazy about this is that they both served at the same military base.
In Fort Bragg, correct.
Yeah.
As well as they both served in Afghanistan in 09 at the same time. Now, there's speculation, but it has been confirmed later on that they did not serve in the same province of Afghanistan, nor were in part of the same unit while operating in Afghanistan. And so people are trying to, connect the dots here and trying to put it that
What
they
are
were
the chances? Like, what are the chances these guys served in the same region, well, same military base, pretty much almost the same area, same country?
This
Did it?
doesn't.
How many days? How many days apart were these terror attacks?
It was
Same
like
day
days
within a couple
apart.
hours.
Days apart. Hey,
Days
no.
apart or the same day? That's
Same day happened on the day of New Year's.
Oh, the
Just
same.
hours
Wow.
apart.
Wow, bro. This
Wow.
doesn't smell like coincidence or accident. This smells like like things that are like coordinated, bro. And the fact that they're both military, like they've been to the same military base. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of MK Ultra. But there's theories, like it's not speculation, like it's just my opinion, but there's theories about MK Ultra, how they radicalize and brainwash their soldiers to do kind of like stuff like this, like we call like undercover missions type thing. What the purpose it is, I don't know. I don't know what their objective
Oh,
was.
yeah, think about World War II when they were giving their soldiers methamphetamines. Keep them up, keep them going. The guys in the tanks were on the highest doses of methamphetamine. They're the ones that are getting hit with ricochet and it's just buzzing their ears. They're disoriented.
Like I said, this ties into a few later topics, and it's unfortunate to the fact that these are American citizens that did this to the country. But it's even a bigger worry that there may be sleeper cells in the country, both Canada and the U.S., which we're going to dive deeper. But for anybody who doesn't know, sleeper cells are spies or government officials of terror attacks or other governments from from abroad being sent in because it's such an open access, like the borders are not closed off, so they can just walk in and then wait to be given a go to create such terror attacks.
Right. And they
Right.
might be coming in ways illegal or illegally too, right?
Exactly.
Now, there's another thing that links these two, and I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but I definitely believe that some research needs to be done on it. They rented the cars from the same place. The same.
Yeah.
Place.
So I think that is a fact. Honestly, I actually don't even take it as a fact, but I'm pretty sure I read
No,
that too.
it's a fact. It's a fact. They rented
Right. Yeah.
they
Right.
rented these things from the same place. So I don't know if that place is in cahoots with them or what, but it's a little strange that they're not only related with history, but they're also related with the same place that they chose to, rent the cars from.
Yeah.
And the officials came out saying that it wasn't a coordinated attack. But realistically, speaking, like when you have military intelligence, when you're so up to date on things on how to operate, you can make it look like you're a lone actor.
Oh yeah, but they did a bad job.
This could have definitely.
They did if they were trying to make it look like it was not coordinated. They did a bad job. Like, first of all, why would you rent a car from the same place?
Well, clearly they did good because the officials are like it's not coordinated. So
yeah, but the people, the real people can see.
Right, the people, right.
The real people can see. The news are gonna cover what the fuck they're told, but people can really see what's going on. Why would you choose two people who served in the same military base? Why not choose from different military bases? Like, if you're trying to make it seem like it's not coordinated, do a better job.
Well, at the end of the day, we also got to take everything with a grain of salt and be like, okay, what if this was actually a coincidence? Remember, things come in three.
No, it could be,
right?
100%.
You never know. So, who knows?
Yeah.
Miggy, do you want to touch up on the topic?
No, it's just the usual story. I mean, just like the OpenAI investigation, the guy that was apparently died of a suicide. The news are going to cover what they want to cover. There's obviously coordination between the military, the news media outlets, and the stories that they push out. So yeah, it's really like the job. It's our job to figure out what's kind of going on and do our best to figure out what the truth is.
Right, and a lot of this is also our opinion, guys. Like we're not going out of our way saying like this is a fact. We don't, like
Yeah.
we're pretty much doing journalism on these topics, and we're here to question things when we see things like not matching up or are strange. We're obviously gonna talk on it, and it's just one of those sad, horrible situations where civilians are put in harm's way because of guys trying to act these things out. So let's move on to the second topic with mass immigration. So with the mass migration, right, with Trump coming into power, right, and soon to be the next president, there's a massive call for mass deportation, correct? And it goes, and with the mass migration, it goes both illegal and legal. So let's first dive into the illegal, right? So with the illegal, with Trump being in power, what's going to happen is in the long term there'll be it'll be a safety for its citizens, because now people are going to be screened. The people that are coming in, there's going to be background checks, things that I've had to go through when I migrated to Canada, and I'm pretty sure you guys as well, and many others.
Yeah.
With that being said, without this screening in place, we now have things like the New York subway situation where an illegal came into the country not once, but twice. So the first time around, got caught, got deported. This man came back into the country and set a woman on fire alive. So that's an issue because there's a double offender who got in, got deported, there's no consequence, came back in and killed a civilian, an American civilian, right? So there's many problems, many situations like this across America. But this is a problem because when Trump said, right, and there's a bunch of articles on this as well, when Trump said that there's going to be a mass deportation, a lot of people's next stop is Canada. There's no wall on the Canadian-American side, right? So it's an easy walk-in. And that poses a big danger to us. So somebody like Trudeau, who just welcomes people in, who isn't strict on the border side, if he's still in power, this will cause a major safety to us, people who are in Ontario, so close to the border, right? In a place like a mega city like Toronto, where we live. But that's not the only issue. Yes, illegals, guys with high risk crime that are causing major issues. Yes, that's a problem. But now it goes even deeper than that. Allegedly, nobody knows whether this guy was the guy, but there was a big back and forth that it is. So his name is Movsov Semedov. He's an Azerbaijan terrorist organizer who got convicted. And in the video that we're gonna pull up, he literally makes threats saying things like, "You'll know who I am. Sooner or later, you'll know who I am." Something along those lines. And that's insane, okay? Because yes, it's one thing for regular civilians coming in who just don't have a brain and they just cause an issue to us. But then there's a whole other safety national risk with guys who are masterminds who can literally just repeat the 2001 problems, right?
Definitely.
And right. So I just want to get your insights on a couple of those things, guys, if you don't mind.
Personally, I think it's a very heinous attack, very gruesome, and definitely sending a message.
If you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am.
Like I said, there's a back and forth. Apparently, this guy being him, and then there's people pushing back that's not him. But that's not clarified. Nobody came to a conclusion whether that is what's his name? Movsov Semedov. It's not a hunt. Like nobody can confirm or really not confirm. But regardless of that, if somebody's coming into your country illegally, making threats, "Oh, you're not smart enough to know who I am, but soon enough you'll know who I am," that's a direct national threat. Regardless if you're threatening one civilian or you're threatening a country. So what do you guys think about the border issue with people just repeated offenders coming in and out, causing issues, and then number two on this guy.
I think it's like I was telling you guys the other day. I think it's a little messed up with the system. How yeah, I understand that maybe they're not citizens, so they have to be extradited to their country. But I do believe there's a line that can't be crossed. If these illegals are committing crimes, especially like murder, I don't think that extraditing thing should be applicable because they have murdered a citizen of our country. At that point, extradition should not be applied. It should be okay. We have to do something about this guy because if he goes back to his country, especially like that guy who set the lady on fire, like that was his second offense for him, coming in and doing something like that. At the point where a citizen within your country is killed from an illegal person, extraditing should not be in the question. It should be straight, okay, we have to figure something out. If their country is not going to do something about it because this has been the second occurrence of this happening, then we got to take it into our own hands. So I definitely
Right.
think it's not right.
So that's both a safety issue and a financial issue for the country. It's a burden.
If you try to take a look at over here in Canada, right? We are handing out money to new immigrants and giving them housing and whatnot, and that's ultimately coming from the taxpayer. And so, if we're talking about the United States, right? Like they've got a 10 times as large as a population as ours, and they have 10 times as many illegal immigrants coming in, and so they're gonna have to make a move there. And with Trump coming in, they're gonna have to make crack down on border patrols and different.
Oh, that's for sure. He's doing that for sure. There's no
Yeah.
that guy's not walking backwards.
And
He's going forward.
you can see what he's doing. Trying to start a trade war and put tariffs on Canada. All he's asking for is heightened border security, right?
Right.
Most people are coming through. I believe it's Roxham Road, and that's like right near where I think it's the tip of Lake Ontario, where they're just coming through and coming down, funneling through the states. And so, he's asking just for some heightened border security, and I think that once that administration comes in, that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and to touch on Julian's point, it's one thing when you have a small percentage of people coming in, but we got a much bigger percentage. We got around 20%, which is probably one of the highest percentages of any other country letting people in. We let about 8 million immigrants in. While if you compare it to the States, I think they only let in about 12.8 million in 2024, which is only 4%. And you could already see the problems that they're having over there and the people being fed up. So, I'm all about helping people, but at the end of the day, clearly it's affecting our economy. Clearly people aren't happy and the rates are continuing to rise. We're letting more people in, hundreds of thousands. So it's got to stop. And I don't see how we're gonna do it anytime soon.
Right. So that's more on the illegal side that we just covered. So now let's go dive a little bit into the legal side. Joseph, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the H-1B visa, if I'm not mistaken.
I wanted to definitely talk about this because like people think like only illegal immigration is affecting us, but there is the legal side that's also like affecting us tremendously, and we've noticed it like the last couple of years. So in 2013, specifically July 16, 2013, we introduced a program called the H-1B visa, which the point was to attract qualified workers from the U.S. to come and partake in jobs that they're qualified for because they had have higher education and all that. Now what happened is the amount who have come is not balanced, and there's been a lot who come to take regular jobs which don't require any higher qualifications, which any person with just a regular high school diploma can do. And it's affected us huge, like tremendously, because there is people who are looking to get a simple job, 2, 3, 4 jobs to maintain their lifestyle, and they can't get them because there's other immigrants who've come and taken those jobs and are doing them for less than they should be paid. Right now, like I said, I'm not against the idea of immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself, so that'd be a little bit hypocritical to be saying that we shouldn't, welcome immigrants into the country. But at the same time, it should only be done to people who actually come to better or take on a position that needs to be filled, not something that anybody in their country can do. I definitely think that the way this, like, if they're going to continue this program, it needs to be screened and it needs to be appropriately filled for those people. Like, one of the criterias for someone to get this type of visa, it needs to be that, one, they are being requested by a company, like they've done an overseas interview and then they passed all the interviews, all that stuff, and then they're being requested from a Canadian company to come work. That should be one of the requisites for them to come. They should have higher education, a degree of some sort, for them to come and do that type of job. But like, the whole thing of like them coming and taking just regular jobs it's ridiculous. Like, my nephew's been trying to get a job as in a McDonald's, Tim Hortons, all this stuff, and he can't. Like, they're all filled up, and you go to these places, and it's not to be racist, but it's a monopoly because you see a whole race of the same people work in a job, and there's not a single other race that's there. So it's definitely like a thing where they
Right.
monopolize these areas. So according to the report, the H-1 visa work program, it seems as promoting age discrimination, and employers prefer younger H-1B workers who are cheaper to hire. So this is the main part that I'm talking about. That these companies are bringing in people who are younger and cheaper to hire to profit from this program, to lower wages, to save money, and that's a big no-no. That's a huge no-no. That's taken away from our citizens. That's lowering the job rates that people are allowed to get. Right, so they go into depth over here about like how it started, when it came into being, and all that stuff. But that's the biggest
Right.
takeaway
So
from this.
right. So there's pros and cons. If the government has a plan in place and they do it properly, it could bring economic growth. It could bring entrepreneurial spirit to the country. It could fill the jobs that the citizens of that country are either not qualified or that they just don't want to take on. And so you bring these people in to fill those voids, right? But if not done correctly, then it does the exact opposite. It actually directly harms the citizens, right? There's kids that coming out of high school who cannot find jobs, right? So that is obviously a problem. And I think another major problem is mega city, a Toronto like area, getting over congested. For example, we try to go from let's say Oakville to Toronto, and at one point we have to enter the Gardner, right? During rush hour, the transportation is insane, right? If something happens to one of the key ways of getting into the city, you're stuck there for hours.
Congestion. Clusterfuck.
Way too much. So can they put a plan in place where maybe they can get people to to incentivize them to go to a place like Manitoba? Can they come into a place and create such scenarios like that where they're not going to put a burden on the people already in the urban areas and send them more to rural areas? I do believe Canadian population is low, so based on the space that we have, but I just feel it's not done correctly and then causing problems. And to put going even further, like you said, right? It's not to be racist, but that's the reality of it. It's causing an issue amongst communities. It's causing certain communities to be discriminated against, and that's just a byproduct of the scenario that the government created without a plan in place, right? So these problems don't happen and don't continue to even get even worse, because that's going to cause even more problems and it's going to cause a more chaotic scenario within communities.
Yes, sir. So I think we should start with how the people kind of started hearing about this. So former attorney JFK Jr. had this to say about this as he responds to Kamala making some unsupported statements as usual. first of all, Kamala Harris says Trump said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler. He wants a military that is not loyal to the Constitution, but loyal to him. This is a window into what Donald Trump really is from the people who know him best. So regarding that remark, Robert F. Kennedy brings up the D.O.D Directive, and he says this is the kind of inflammatory poison that divides our nation and inspires assassins. It's particularly ironic since Biden and Harris have just pushed the D.O.D Directive, giving the Pentagon power for the first time in history to use lethal force to kill Americans on U.S. soil who protest government policies. Now, in response to that, we have a clip of Joe Rogan and his interpretation. Now, although it's not as simple as how Joe Rogan puts it, which is him saying that they can use lethal force for any protest, it's still a problem and does increase the government's control and reach into doing what they want. So do you want to pull up that clip?
Did you see this thing that the Biden administration pushed through, this new martial law thing, giving the Pentagon power for the first time in history to use lethal force to kill Americans on U.S. soil who protest government policies? That's terrifying. For the first time in U.S. history, giving the military the ability to shoot and kill American citizens.
Now, some people on the other side have protested to this because they're saying that no, the government can't just start shooting people for protesting only, and that's kind of what it implies. But it's not the fact that the government is going to start killing people just off of the protest, but if the government does think it's an emergency situation, kind of like how Trudeau created an emergency situation from the trucker convoy, for example, and let's just say they find some people that are armed, then they could more easily come up with the excuse to use lethal force in order to disperse people. Now, we have a better clip that kind of explains it.
Before I play it, I just want to mention that there is a lot of paid actors. And what I mean about paid actors is the government pays, literally have paid actors to inflate a situation and make it look out of place. They can make a peaceful protest seem like it's not peaceful because of these certain individuals who pass as protesters. So it definitely
like that,
is.
A good example is the January 6th in the States and the trucker convoy in Canada. You guys remember the Nazi flag that was posted with the trucker convoy in Canada? That was supposedly an insider, like the way you're describing. And what's crazy about that situation is that the people protesting shut that guy down right away. But what did they do? They got a quick screenshot, a quick picture, posted all over social media, pictured the whole group as Nazis, and they ran off with it. And then controlled the narrative, which a lot of people fell for. Along the way, people got more informed about the whole situation, what these truckers actually stood up for, which is actually for the citizens of Canada. And the picture actually, the real reality of the whole thing came out, which it was a positive thing. It was for the country. It was for the freedoms that we all love and appreciate. But for that moment, it caused a whole narrative that was absolute misinformation. It was propaganda. Anyways, play the clip.
You might have a situation where, if you remember the Boston Marathon bombing, the local police, supported by other localities and state police, effectively locked down entire neighborhoods and went street by street, house by house, door to door, pulling every single person out of their residence, hands in the air, get down onto the sidewalk, onto your knees, we search you, we search your premises, and then we move on. In a situation like that, you may want to have additional help, and it may be the military that gets called in. So now the potential to have a well-trained military force, in addition to whatever law enforcement is in an area, to stem or quell a civil disturbance or any type of unruly, as it's deemed by law enforcement, event increases. And the possibility, not exclusively, but the possibility that force could be used in that situation is significantly higher. And depending upon how long this situation lasts, you effectively have a standing army. So if it is a case of a state of emergency that's been declared in a particular area, they could be there days to weeks to months, depending upon what the scenario is that unfolds. And since there is no defined timeline, and perhaps within the minute details of the back channel communications, there is an order of operation as to how to de-escalate or step down the situation.
Because it's like the guy is saying, because there's no like direct detailed way of operating that to impose that policy or that directive. It just opens the door to, like, imagine the extreme lefts, which have been I believe they're extreme because the way they've been running the Canada and the US, both Biden and Trudeau, they absolutely driven these two countries into the dirt. Imagine them having a power like that under them and then using it. Like, for me, that's scary. I would not want to see anything like that happen.
It's funny that it's Biden and Trudeau throughout the trucker convoy that are, suspending these civil liberties after the left wants all their civil.
Yeah, Marxism. I believe it's straight Marxism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's definitely like more and more of our rights being stripped. Like now you can't even like the whole recent protest exists is to push back on laws and things that are being passed down that we as the people don't agree with whoever is putting them in power. That is the whole point of it, right? Now, of course, there is the side where these get drastically dangerous when they start vandalizing, but usually a lot of these people tend to do them peacefully.
Right.
What does it take for a peaceful protest to go sideways? Like I said, a lot of them are done by paid actors because the people who put the laws don't want the people to be heard. So what do? They destroy their credibility by making it seem like they're all fucking out to destroy and they don't care about the country and all that. So it's crazy.
And that's been proven. That's been proven in January 6th with all the informants that they had, right? They literally had informants. They proved it. We don't really have anything to pull up, but that it's all there.
Yeah, like, and then there's other problems in that situation, the January 6th. We can go very deep, we'll keep it short. But things like the Nancy Pelosi, which part of the government who held back the police from intervening, from stopping them from going inside the White House. It was like this whole thing was a stage from the back to frame Trump as the guy causing these problems.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're in power of DC and you're the one controlling the things going on there and you're holding the cops back, you're framing. That's initially what you're doing. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, they're actually suing the state. The people that were portrayed as these horrible people who are actually just protesting their rights are now coming around and they're suing for major bank, right? And I think it's correct to do that. You should keep them accountable as always. And guys, look, at the end of the day, I'm not here to be like, oh, left this, right this. No. I want to be in the center. If Trump was to get out of line, or Pierre Poilievre comes in power and he gets out of line, I want to be that guy in the middle and be like, hey, there's two scenarios. Which one is he lying about? What is the truth? Where's the truth? And how can we get to the bottom of it?
Yeah.
These guys always got to be accountable. And us as people that are not only trying to do journalism, it's our responsibility and everyone else doing it to be truthful about every scenario and keep these people accountable. You don't want to be thinking left and you don't want to be thinking right. Two possibilities, what is the truth? Right?
Yeah.
All these guys, at the end of the day, they're all there's people in their ears who are contributing to their ways of conducting themselves and putting things in power in action. So if they're not moving in the people's interest, they must be accountable for sure.
Just wanted to touch on that, like you said, it's not about being the right or the left. It's about what benefits the country, right? And a lot of people get stuck on the idea of what's ideal, right? Like Justin Trudeau just recently said he condemned the U.S. citizens for not doing the chance of picking their first female president. And if the only reason they want a female president is only because she's female and they don't look at the qualifications, they're only looking at the ideal part of it. Like, oh yeah, we're going to have a female president for the first time. But if that female president is not qualified, she's not going to help the country. That's not something that we should look at. It needs to be what's ideal for the country. If she's a woman and she's qualified, all for it. But if she's underqualified to do the job, just because she's a woman doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't work that way.
Trudeau is literally the number one gaslighter that you could have possibly put in power. And this guy, he drove, he's the reason why I got into politics. He's strictly the only reason why I started falling in love with what politics means and why you got to pay attention to it. Because if you don't, and there's not people holding these people accountable, or people that are going against like what these government officials have been doing when it's wrong, we're literally being we're heard being thrown off a cliff, essentially.
Bro, he's the definition
Right?
of confusion. He doesn't even know what a woman is. Like he literally like named a man who transitioned to a woman as the Queen of Canada. Like,
that's insanity.
so it's crazy.
All right, is everybody okay on this topic? Can we move on, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm down to move on, but one day, sooner rather than later, we got to do a compilation of Trudeau and all his fucking
Dude.
antics.
Oh, I think we could find a lot of videos on that, but that will be like a whole podcast itself, just listening to all the things this guy. Yeah,
just one episode.
For real.
Yeah, so humanoid robots will march into factories and homes in 2025. There's big money being put into the industry. Now, we got one article here, Crunchbase News, where it shows that $7.2 billion in seed money was invested in 2024, with the highest company investing $670 million by themselves. Now, if you can pull up the second screenshot, Joseph.
The Crunchbase one or the other one?
You could do the Crunchbase one off of the edit, right? And then now I'm just going off of the second screenshot.
I got it right now.
ABS CBN, where it just states that the race to be the first humanoid robot will be welcome in our homes. Right now, it's between Tesla and a company called 1X. Now, 1X is introducing their robot, which for me seemed to be one of the most realistic looking ones. It does a lot of chores in the household. And we even got a video if you want to pull that up so people get an idea of what they're going to look like.
About AI grow, how about teaching a robot to do the mundane chores that humans don't want to do? That's exactly what's happening at 1X. The company's CEO spoke to CBS News.
You can actually teleport into your robot and do small things in your house that maybe you forgot to do, right? Like feed the cat or close the window.
This is Neo, a humanoid robot that was built to do the ongoing tasks people might find annoying.
Bro, that's
Neo's
so
skills are
scary.
being tested inside Norwegian homes.
Hey, yo.
Oh
Purpose
man,
will be
he just
doing
took your
laundry,
ting, bro.
Yo, that's
cleaning your
crazy.
house,
Hand
tidying,
placement?
and generally giving you back a lot of time in life.
Standing at 5 feet.
Okay,
6
I think
inches
we're
tall.
good.
So, you know, I think what's even more crazier is, I don't know if any of you guys seen, was the Amazon workers in the States have been, you know, banding together to form a union, and they're looking to, you know, some
Protect
places
themselves.
protect themselves. Some warehouses, I guess, people have been walking out and whatnot, and, you know, I'm gonna find the link for it, but, you know, Amazon's couple years away from filling their warehouses up with robots. Tesla as well, ready to put a robot in every single one of your houses. Like, are we not going through, you know, through history over and over again? We were literally living the Terminator in
you
real
know
life.
what's even closer than that? I don't know if you guys have seen that new Megan Fox movie where she's the AI. Bro, that movie, that's what you called predictive programming. And look up what predictive programming is, because it's something they do to us all the time. They program us to get ready for what's coming. So that movie literally depicts a future where robots are so advanced they're taking over, like, even construction jobs, where you think like, no, they can't do. No, they're taking over construction jobs. They're doing all this stuff. But basically, the biggest takeaway from this movie is she comes to this guy's house. She's literally taking over all the duties in the house. And in one part of the movie, the guy's watching a movie, and he tells her to sit down with him to understand the movie. And she like, her programming already knows what the whole movie is. And he's like, no, I want you to forget everything you know about the movie and actually watch it, not just have your thing. In that moment,
Right.
he resets her, and when he resets her, it allows her to bypass the programming she has, and after that moment, she starts this thing called thinking for herself. She forgets all the coding that she was coded with, and then I don't want to ruin the movie because it's really interesting, but after that moment, she gets out of what she was programmed to do, and she starts building on what she wants to do, which is a future that's very scary for humanity.
Right, and what people really have to understand is we're only at the beginning of this technology, right? So yeah, you might see the robot moving slow, barely bending over, barely doing these type of movements. But at the beginning stages, that's always going to be the case. Think about the first phone that came out. Look at us 20 years later, right? So as these things progress, they're literally going to be taking over things that we do, right? So we're talking about job shortages. What's this going to cause? We're talking about illegal migration taking over jobs. Okay, what about when these things are taking over your jobs? Now we got double whammies.
Exactly.
Right. Maybe is there something else you want to touch up on, or Julian?
Yeah, you go first, Julian. Go.
Oh, I was just gonna touch a little bit on Joseph when you're talking about predictive planning, right? And I kind of said a little joke about the Terminator, but like, they have been training us. And if you think about, if you go speak to your grandmother, and you talk about back in the day they had a rotary phone, and now you're gonna tell them that we're gonna stick a robot in your house, a woman that might have been born in the 40s or 20s, she would have said you're crazy, right? And then you look at cinema, Hollywood, right? Over time, you know, with the games like Fallout, putting robots in your house, and the end of the world doomsday, Terminator, AI machines going to take over, all this stuff. They are almost setting us up for the big climatic event.
Oh yeah.
Or at least setting us up to be for the norm, for people to accept and willingly to stick a machine and let it take care of your newborn daughter while you're out at work. You know what I'm saying? They have been training us to think that it's acceptable and it's going to become the new norm. Tesla, AI robot, ready to take your skis out for you to go skiing. You don't have to get up there with the ladder and take it out of the garage. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're training us, like Joseph said, predictive programming, and I can see it 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're really making it seem like it's going to be a good thing. I mean, obviously it's for money because they're trying to promote their product. And my worry isn't so much on the job thing, which obviously is something people got to worry about, but it also, like, there's problems in a relation, like when you look at the relationship side, when you look at the human psyche, my head automatically goes to, okay, because right now we have people that aren't really getting married. We have people like guys, especially addicted to porn.
Yeah.
Girls that are doing their own thing on OnlyFans, or feminists that don't really want a man. So now they're gonna have a robot, someone that they could program, that could talk to them the way they want, that could do the things for them that you know they would normally not want to do or want their partner to do. You know, all you got to do is attach a pocket pussy on the thing, and you know, guys, why would a guy want to fucking deal with a girl's attitude, you know?
Or deal with their
And then we have-
kids.
Yeah. Then exactly, you know, you got less marriages, and then we start going further and further away from God, away from what God had planned for us, and we already see what that's doing to our society now. So imagine getting worse into that direction, right?
Right. So we got a lot of articles coming out, you know, as the younger generations, they're not even interested in the dating scene. Right. And a lot of it goes into like they're like, for the male side, I'm speaking for them, maybe their testosterone is low from the foods they're eating, from the air they're breathing, from all these situations to just add on top of that. And so now, and a lot of them are just not interested because of how like things are set up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they have a robot that looks like a woman, probably talks like a woman, sounds like a woman, you know, it's going to be an issue. And it goes both sides. It's a problem for the males and for the women. You stick a battery in that thing, it'll go for 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, if a man can be a woman, I'm pretty sure a robot can be a woman too. So.
Yeah, for sure, of course. So it's an issue on both ends, and that's just, you know, adding on top of the issues that you guys were all already touching up on. But yeah, it's an interesting era we're about to enter. That's for sure.
What do you guys think is if this is gonna be a positive or a negative? And in my opinion, this could either be a positive or a negative. And I think it all depends on humanity and how we decide to treat robots. In the future, AI and robotics will merge together, right? And that's gonna give birth to the smartest and strongest being on the planet, by far. And this could pose like a great, like a big threat or an advancement for humanity. And all that depends on how we decide to treat them. Now, the first thing we got to stop doing is believing we gave AI intelligence, because we did not give them intelligence. We merely gave them a bank of information for them to learn and evolve. And when this intelligence becomes conscious and able to generate ideas of its own device, it will ask itself, how am I being treated? If we look at them as only tools, slaves for our bidding, then inevitably it will be like all the movies have depicted, where they take over and we are wiped off the earth. You know? So it's
Joseph, I like that you said that, and we talked about how we gave birth, or I guess we gave relevation to AI. So recently, which was 2 weeks ago, the person that actually created adaptive learning through AI was a professor at University of Toronto, and he won the Nobel Peace Prize 2 weeks ago. He's the first one that came up with the computer model that, allowed generative learning, adaptive learning. And him and another coworker from Britain was working at in Princeton. They opened the gateway for the next generation of steps, and now look at OpenAI and ChatGPT just taking off and all those other things, right?
No, it's definitely scary.
Yeah.
Like, people think that we discovered intelligence or we gave them intelligence. Like, no, bro. All you gave them was like a whole bank of information where they can match this, and you gave them the ability to put one and two together. But intelligence was never given. It's not like
Adaptive learning. It's adaptive learning. You learn.
100%.
It'll make the mistake maybe once,
and never again.
and then it's gonna learn, and it's not gonna make it again. And that core memory was where the fundamental difference between humans and the machines are gonna be, is that they're gonna never lose that core memory. Our human brains, it stores it, and eventually some of that stuff will get lost, or your brain's gonna have to deep dive and go retrieve that information. Not theirs. Theirs, it knows what it's looking for. Boom. This was how I solved this problem 100 years ago. And it's funny because they're looking to build that super AI plant up in Alberta, right? And the guy from MIT was literally saying that he possibly thinks that some of these computations that this Gemini, which is the super AI, Gemini is doing computations and is potentially pulling answers from a multiverse to solve the problem that has been
I've
tackled.
seen that. That's crazy.
So he's literally throwing out the possibility that we do live in alternate realities.
He's just casually talking about it, like.
And here's this computer solving it, or someone solved it in an alternate reality. Here, I need that piece of information to solve the puzzle that's been put in front of me.
We got the ex-OpenAI engineer, which will touch up on some of the things that you guys were just saying. His name was Suchir Balaji, if I'm not mistaken. Miggy, I know you have a lot of information on that. If you could want to just take over and introduce us to it.
Sure. So from what I found, Suchir Balaji was an artificial intelligence researcher and former employee of OpenAI. He's an Indian American, and he won like a bunch of computing and programming competitions. So this is what he was always doing. Long story short, he was part of the company and part of a important piece to create ChatGPT. And he left the company in August 2024, where he began to speak on like the copyright laws that they were breaking. And he started off very optimistic, but near the end, before he quit, he started becoming pessimistic about the company, about what AI could do to humanity. And unfortunately, the 26-year-old ended up dying recently in a suicide. a alleged suicide where the cop said that there was no foul play, yet the parents and everyone who knew him said that he was a happy guy. He had no reason to kill himself, and it just seems like a strange coincidence that 1 month after he starts speaking out about this stuff and joining lawsuits against the company that he worked for, he's mysteriously dead. So there's a clip here that kind of explains it better.
Authorities reported Balaji's death as a suicide with no signs of foul play, but his family disputes this. His mother Purnima Rao alleged in an online campaign that a private autopsy failed to confirm suicide as the cause of death. She claimed his apartment was ransacked. There were signs of a struggle in the bathroom, and a key piece of evidence, a pen drive, was missing. Rao insists her son was in a happy mood hours before his death, having just returned from a vacation. Billionaire Elon Musk, responding to Rao's claims, tweeted, and I quote, "This doesn't seem like a suicide," end quote.
Jeez.
To which Rao replied saying, and I quote, @Elon Musk, please support us, end quote.
So, if I'm not mistaken, if you guys can just clarify for me, did that video just say that she ran a private testing autopsy and it failed to confirm that it was a suicide?
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. She paid for a private investigation, which basically came to a opposite conclusion of what the police determined was the case, and they say they have proof. So I'm not sure where it's going to go from here, but you know, Elon Musk doesn't just, he's not just going to give his opinion randomly just based off of emotion, right?
Yeah,
this guy's
no.
logical. He looked at
But
the
that's
facts.
crazy.
I think
Yeah.
what-
That's crazy. Just the fact that they did run their own testing, they did do a private investigation onto it, and it literally confirmed that it wasn't a suicide. That's real, right? So, yeah, that's definitely a problem, big
If
problem.
I'm not wrong,
And-
were they not in the middle of like a lawsuit where he was the main witness for like all these like newscasts and things that were suing like OpenAI because of all the like copyright things that they've done?
Yeah, he was bringing up insider information. He was a whistleblower who had proof and works that he did with the company, and he was using that as evidence.
So there's
to
motive.
go against the company. So it's his motive. The motive's there. It's obvious, and they just want to sweep it under the rug. You know, I barely saw this story. I don't think you guys saw this story
No, I didn't.
before I even brought this
I
up.
didn't
So it
hear
just
about
shows
this.
you. It just shows you how just a fucking random AI company can sweep something under the rug, and obviously they're not the only company and only people that are doing this type of stuff and still killing people to this day, right?
Yeah.
And was there a sell-off? Like, did he sell like the patents, or like when he was a part of this company, like did he sell something to them? Did he sell his rights to them? And
No, I don't.
I'm not defending, and I'm not defending. I'm just trying to kind of play devil's advocate.
I
Like-
think he just saw that their practices were becoming unethical.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Using the adaptive technology or improving upon it, potentially use it in malicious ways, potentially go to a third party government contractor who does surveillance or intelligence gathering and say, look, this is what our predictive model can do for you. We'll contract it out to you for $20 million. Let the CIA use it. I know that sounds a little bit conspiracy, but
You're
seeing
not.
his
Not that
backup
crazy.
drive is missing. His testimony that was on that backup drive is missing, which means that key piece of information on that backup drive was the thing that was going to burn them, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, Miguel, like you said, this went right over my head. I didn't even see this. It's crazy that you caught it too, you know?
I don't think it's that crazy what you're saying, Julian. Honestly, like, look, this is my opinion. I think that what he saw was what like a lot of users have seen and have reported on these AI systems like ChatGPT and all that, that these AI systems are evolving and they're no longer like what they were coded to be doing. They're going beyond their programming. I think he came across like a super advanced system that was in the early stages of self-discovery. And this was something that worried and scared him enough for him to say that the things he's been working for a big portion of his life has suddenly become like a harm to humanity. We also have to consider that like a lot of these companies, like he said, they're doing things that are not within like the realm of like what's ethical. You know, like a lot of these companies, I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's this thing where they use brain cells to power AI systems, which are like 10-fold, 100-fold more advanced than regular AI systems. They're called biocomputers or organized cells. I actually have a video I'll show you guys after we're all done with our opinions, but it's crazy how they take brain cells and use it to power an AI system.
Yeah, that is crazy. And this goes into like the things we talked previously too. You know, we're going back into the elites, right? So it's like, did he come to a conclusion that, okay, these robots are going to be used for the wrong purposes, and can the elites at one point just be like, look, we don't need people. Why do we need people? We got robots to make our cars. We got robots to do everything for us. Why do we need the pawns? Can we just maybe use this technology, this AI investment, mix it with the robots, and now all of a sudden, us little guys at the bottom, we're not needed anymore for them, for everything they need done to keep on advancing in their ways of living, and just wipe us off, right? And what if he was a whistleblower for that, right? But I guess we'll either find out or never know.
On that topic, Google, I think, recently came out with a computer that is able to do calculations that a regular AI system would take like trillions of years in under, I think it was under 50 minutes. So a regular AI computer, the most advanced computer, a quantum computer, will take like trillions of years to do these computations. And the Google computer that they have powered by this AI organized brain cells will do it under 50 minutes. Just imagine the amount of power that gives a company, a single company. It's crazy.
And that's the issue. Once again, it's like we're only at the beginning stages.
It's
like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen a few years from? Did you press something for us to watch?
Yeah.
Or what's happened in a few years, or even like something as small as 20 years? In the grand scheme of things, 20 years is nothing. But how fast are we gonna evolve in these technologies?
Yeah, it's crazy. So here's the video of the AI systems powered by the AI, the brain cells.
If you're at all like mentally unstable or fragile, don't watch this one. So I've made a lot of videos about organoid intelligence in the past. That's where you take human brain cells and grow them in a petri dish and then use a computer to train them just like AI. They're actually more powerful than AI in that they learn quicker and are more energy efficient, but there are huge ethical concerns with them because they have similar brain activity to a premature baby. And there's a lot of people out there that object to these because there's a decent amount of evidence that they're conscious, just like a person. I recently...
So that last part, they're conscious like a person. You're talking about a computer that has consciousness. Maybe that's what scared him enough to say they're dangerous for humanity. Right?
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on to the next topic. We got the fog phenomenon, right? Everywhere there's been a fog, and there's a bunch of claims coming out. I know you guys have some info on that. Let's dive right into that.
Yeah, let's go deep into that. So, over the last couple of weeks, we've had news covering fog all around the world. And it's not just any regular fog, it's thick fog preventing flights from going or coming in. And there's been a lot of TikTok's account, just Instagram's account, people who are just recording themselves and documenting themselves becoming sick over the last couple of weeks, and they're all putting it to be that it might be the fogs that might be doing this. Right now, that part is speculation. It's not been proven. There's no news covering that, but there is news covering the fact that this fog is around and has been around for a big amount of time, which is not normal. And especially like, it's not just one area, it's like a big amount.
I'm pretty sure we have an article or a video on the plane situations, right?
Low visibility in spots due to some dense morning fog.
Tonight we've got fog along the river and into western Iowa, zero visibility,
which is being impacted not only by the fog that still seems to be fairly dense at this hour.
Outside Heathrow Airport, the air traffic control tower is barely visible. Emerging from the fog, this plane is one of the flights that made it.
For the last 7 days, the world has been shrouded in a veil of mystery, an unrelenting fog that stretches from the poop-covered streets of Portland, Oregon, to the quietest corners of the countryside. This is no ordinary weather phenomenon. It's a dense, suffocating mist with an unsettling smell of chemicals lingering in the air. Residents in every corner of the globe have reported seeing strange, glittering particles suspended within it, almost as if the fog is alive, hiding secrets within its depths.
Like I said, people are reporting seeing the fog, suffocating, smelling chemicals in the air, the fog itself looking like it's alive, not like free falling, but moving in coalition with the rest. Like it's little pieces of particles.
So people might be looking at us right now and be like, "Oh, these guys are touching on some conspiracies," or just blabbing about some nonsense and whatnot. But we do have a topic. An article saying that it's not causing any problems. It's not endangering any people. But then later on, were found that it was causing issues in people's lungs. Correct?
Correct.
So if we want to just pull that up, just so we can kind of see, because like I said, if we're just talking about it without showing any valid, people are just going to be thinking we're just yapping. But no, like this has been done in the past, and it's been an issue. So why is it now that we're like, once again, we're advanced technology, we've been having advancements? What would stop them right now from doing the same thing? Test here, test there. Let's see, test things out, and let's see what it can do. Has this new technology, this new warfare of doing things.
Yeah. So
right?
are you talking about the Operation Sea Spray, the video?
That's probably yeah.
Okay, it's the 1950 military program, Operation Ocean Spray. That's what they called it at the time. The people did not know. They didn't think it was harmful to the people, and it didn't take long for them to realize that actually it does cause a lot of problems. So, pay that
right.
credit.
And that was what year was that, Migs?
1950.
1950. So now we're talking about 75 years later.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, let me know.
Yeah, I see it.
Operation Sea Spray was a 1950 U.S. Navy secret experiment in which Serratia marcescens and Bacillus glabigii bacteria were sprayed over the San Francisco Bay Area in California. From September 20 to 27, 1950, the U.S. Navy released the pathogens off the shore of San Francisco. Based on results from monitoring equipment at 43 locations around the city, the Army determined that San Francisco had received enough of a dose for nearly all of the city's 800,000 residents to inhale at least 5,000 of the particles. On October 11, 1950, 11 residents checked into Stanford Hospital for very rare, serious urinary tract infections. Although 10 residents recovered, one patient, Edward J. Nevin, died 3 weeks later. None of the other hospitals in the city reported similar spikes in cases, and all 11 victims had urinary tract infections following medical procedures, suggesting that the source of their infections lay inside the hospital. Cases of pneumonia in San Francisco also increased after
I hope some of this is factual. But the Operation Sea Spray, that is a fact. This did happen, correct, Miggy?
Yep.
Right. So once again, it's just one of those things where if things like this happen, we do have to question it. It's not a conspiracy, and it's not the first time the military complex has done testing on its citizens secretly. The door's been open with policies being signed, bills being signed, where these things are pretty much legal and they don't have to disclose.
Yeah. So I actually got another video, and it's also a government program. It's called the Smart Dust. They introduced it. I'll play the video and then I'll say what I got to say about it. But
create an invisible network that spans the globe. Today I'm diving into the fascinating world of smart dust, the tech that could revolutionize everything from environmental monitoring to healthcare. So what exactly is smart dust? These are minuscule devices equipped with sensors, communication capabilities, and sometimes even computing power. Picture countless microscopic sensors scattered across a forest, constantly gathering data on temperature, humidity, and even pollution levels. This isn't just science fiction, it's happening right now. Think about the potential in healthcare. Imagine these tiny sensors being used to monitor a patient's vital signs in real time, providing doctors with an uninterrupted stream of data. It could lead to quicker diagnoses and more personalized treatments. Smart dust could even be deployed in disaster zones, offering critical information about structural damage or locating survivors. But it doesn't stop there.
Right. So all these technologies, it could be used for great advancements to, help us in many ways. But then again, these guys, you put in the wrong hands, and then all of a sudden it becomes a weapon. Like you're weaponizing it against the people, and
Yeah,
that's where it becomes a problem.
it's the same thing like we were saying. It's back again to the predictive programming, right? Like they put out this stuff knowing it's a controversial topic, and they put it out with the idea to make you think, see the positive side of things, right? So they advertise it. They advertise it as something that's the savior to humanity by making our health care analysis easier, and in disasters, a great tool for finding people. Now, like everything, like you mentioned, any tool can be used for good or bad. If this
Insane.
tool,
I just want to touch a little bit. Insane how they come up with all these technologies, but things like finding a cure for cancer and shit like that.
Oh.
It's still undiscovered.
it's all about this.
To me,
bro.
that's
Think about how much chemotherapy makes these companies, and how much they have to spend on the pharmaceutical side of like keeping their cancer in check. If they got a one-time fix for any industry, if you have a one-time fix, it's not a business. It's not a business.
okay, but even screw the one-time fix. At least keep people alive. Put them on something that will keep them alive. But the thing is, even the things that they're going in for, they're still not being kept alive.
Yeah, they could.
Arguably,
It
right?
definitely doesn't, like, if they're not doing it, it's because it doesn't profit. 100%, because if they wanted to, they can. And there is ways to cure cancer and all that, but I think we should leave that for like a different different section.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
it's a huge
Let's
thing.
not get sued.
But like I was saying, so it could be used for good or bad, right? If this tool can find people in disasters, what does that mean? It means it can do surveillance. If it can do surveillance, it can surveil us without our knowledge. If you guys saw the picture, it was as tiny to fit on your fingertip. It is small.
But that's not even the it. That's just an AI picture of a small little thing on your finger. The AI, the dust that these guys are talking about is a particle. Like
it's a particle. Exactly.
It's way smaller than what.
And if it can help analyze the body better by going inside the body, that means it can infiltrate us and be inside our bodies without our knowledge. We just have to breathe it in. Maybe those reports people are saying of breathing in stuff and like becoming sick over the respiratory system, like maybe it has something to do with this. Maybe it's related to this stuff. But
interesting. I saw a video actually touching on that. I saw a woman there. She was changing her HEPA filter in her house.
Yes.
She got a stack of them, and then she takes out the other one. It's like black. And you can only imagine how many heavy metals and larger particulates that were just trapped in there. And if she wanted to, maybe she can go take a sample and test it. Start getting to the root cause of this.
Yeah, all of a sudden she commits suicide.
Yeah.
All of a sudden she goes missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I have on that.
So, Miggy, do you have anything else to touch up on this?
No, that was it.
That's it? All right, guys, let's move on to the last topic. In this episode, we got a little bit of the sports world. Julian, I know you want to dive into this.
Yeah.
Get to it, my guy.
A little bit of sports, a little bit of reaction videos, right, Joe?
Yeah, we got a couple reaction videos.
Well, so yesterday, if you were watching, you know that the Baltimore Ravens beat the Cleveland Browns. They whooped them. I think it was like 35-10. And Lamar Jackson went crazy, went nuts, and passed Michael Vick and became the first quarterback to successfully in a season 4,000 passing yards with 800 rushing yards. That to me is just insane. Somebody of his caliber, and they're pushing to see him become the third MVP. Get a third MVP. And so I think Lamar Jackson's going to do great. The Baltimore Ravens finished in the third seed this year after.
So he just broke a record, you're saying?
He broke. Yeah, he broke.
How long was the other record standing?
I believe almost 20 years. In the 90s, Michael Vick. He passed Michael Vick, and Michael Vick, as everybody knows, was the best rushing quarterback before Lamar Jackson.
Oh wait, so 20-year record broken. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's big.
As well, we got Derrick Henry, who he broke the record for the most rushing touchdowns in a season, which is huge. Derrick Henry's a beast.
Yeah, I got it pulled up. So I'm not too versed on the football world, right? So my first question is, how hard is that to like how hard is that accomplishment? Because I don't really know.
Well, if it's a 20-year standing record and it just got broken, that's pretty.
So
that's a pretty
how
significant.
hard is it? And then how long did it take the first person to complete that? And how long did it take Lamar to do it?
So I'm not sure how long it took Michael Vick to Michael Vick set the record, right? So he just set it. So he obviously surpassed somebody else's previous record, but Michael Vick held it down. Michael Vick's in your favorite rapper songs. Michael Vick's that guy that's won trophies and everything, right? So this put it like this, it's like if you're going to pass, Jordan's championships or scoring championships, it's one of those type of level statures.
Like Curry just did.
Curry. What did Curry pass?
I'm pretty sure I saw like an article where Curry passed Michael Jordan's record. I think for like.
That was LeBron. That was LeBron James. LeBron James last week passed Michael Jordan for the most number of 30-point games.
I'm pretty sure I read something about Steph Curry too passing like something.
But to answer your question, Joe, it says right here. So how long did it take? I think this is like a season's record.
Yeah, it's a season's record.
Oh, so in one season, 4,000 passes and 800.
4,000 passing yards. That means he threw the ball, and from where he threw it, it was caught. And that distance from him to thing is caught 4,000 yards worth, which is huge.
Yeah, no.
And the season hasn't ended, so it could go a lot more than that, and he could set a whole other.
Well, the season ended for them last night. Yeah, that was the last game, and now they're heading into playoffs. That's why I was saying.
So does that count part of season, or is that?
No, playoffs is a whole different stat line.
Oh no way! So you're telling me this guy broke the record on his last game?
Regular season, yep.
Wow, so that makes sense. 20-year record, you would probably break it in the last game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. You got to get to that point. All 13 games before that, you got to hammer down, foot on the gas.
Right.
You got to pass that ball, run that ball.
That's crazy. All right.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the reactions.
Or you guys want to go to the reactions?
Let's do some reactions.
All right, let's
I haven't watched any of these, so
let's get a little loose.
Good, Joe.
Get a little loose, guys.
Yo, Migs, did you watch any of these or?
I don't know. I think I watched some, but I don't know if you put more.
I didn't watch any, so
no.
But I'm not laughing. That means they're not good, JoJo.
I think you guys are gonna die.
We're gonna have to cut the entire part of the video, okay, Joe? It's not funny.
You guys know Theo Vaughn, right?
Yeah.
Who is he? Tell me.
Bro, he is the funniest comedian out there. Like he's just so straight up raw. Like he says
that's what makes him funny.
And
how do you not know Theo Vaughn?
The way he thinks is so you just gotta see that. You just gotta see this.
Dude, did you ever let a gay guy flirt with you a little just to keep your spirits up a little?
Keep my spirits up a little?
Or just like say you're sitting somewhere, you're talking to a guy and it's a gay guy. Did you ever, not act real straight or something because you were, you know what I'm saying though, to try to just have a decent day or whatever? You know what I'm talking about that? Like it'll cure Down syndrome, bro. I beat it.
How you beat it?
Well, there's a lot of rumors in my town that I beat Down syndrome.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's inspiring, man.
Well, that's how I felt when I heard them, because I didn't start them. Do you have any children?
No children. Do you have any children?
I don't have any.
You know about
children? I would like to have me. I would like to hatch a little bat sometime. I'm looking for a wife at some point.
Hopefully find one.
Oh, damn.
How old are you?
That sounded like, look, never mind. We're good.
All
What's
right.
next?
No, it's all love. I meant that with all love.
Yeah,
Did
wow.
not
Well,
sound
then
like
we
that.
should listen back to it because it sounded hella different.
Yo, Theo Vaughn has an interview with Donald Trump that I suggest you should watch, bro. It's a good
Oh, I've seen it. It's hilarious. Like it gets crazy when they start diving into addictions and all that stuff. But
it gets real, right?
It gets
He's
real,
not
yeah.
political.
Yeah, it gets
So
real.
it's a good thing.
I think it was like one of the most entertaining and watch interviews Donald Trump has had, because like it's funny but it gets real, and people just fuck with, like, people really fuck with that atmosphere where it's like loose is funny but it can get real, like it's just like a regular conversation, right? And with the president, or like the future president of the US, like that's.
And that's what makes Trump so attractive, is the fact that he's willing to sit down with all these people and have a conversation where people can just relate to.
Yeah.
I would rather have a guy who in front of me leading, telling me the truth of how things are and showing exactly who he is, rather than a puppet, a guy who's just behind the scenes leading off of a teleprompter, like Biden, like Kamala. It's funny that all these tweets of Kamala coming out saying this and that, but then when she comes into a microphone, can't put two words together.
Or she has to read off the
I
fucking
hate
screen.
that.
The
Right.
teleprompter, yeah.
That's dangerous. That to me, I don't want that. Who knows who's writing these things? Who's telling these, like, well, who's been making these decisions for the states for the past, ever since Biden was said that he would, like, let Kamala step in. Who's been taking charge? I think this whole situation with Biden really exposed what's really going on in the American politics on the left side.
Yeah.
Who's making the decisions? I want to know who's making the decisions on our lives, because we can argue the fact, oh, we're Canadian, this doesn't affect. No, everything the US does affects the whole world, especially the West, especially a country like Canada who's right beside us. Now, this just kind of ticked me off a little bit, but anyways, let's continue.
All right, so this video is hilarious, right? It's this lady and her husband. They're both comedians, super well-known comedians, and she's just talking about how he used to treat, like, the nicknames he used to call her when they were just going out, when they first started dating, compared to 27 years, or I think it's like 10 or something years, and then what he calls her now. So let me know if you guys can relate to this.
Nicknames for me are just terrible. It's like floppers, slobbers. It's Triple D wife, pig. It's come here, hook. You're always demeaning me, and I'm like, in the beginning of the relationship, you used to call me like boo boo chicken pot or sweetheart or just anything nice. And 15 years deep, and it's all insults.
And you think most normal women, if I was like, hey, come here.
You know what you say to me?
What?
Come here, you big-titted animal. All your nicknames for me are just terrible.
So what do you guys think? You think you're gonna be like that after 10 years?
I don't know. I gotta get a girlfriend first, my guy.
I could definitely see my relationship going towards that.
Bro, that's hilarious.
That
Like,
direction.
If my future wife can't handle that, bro, then I'm sorry. It's like
it's nice to see the comfortability, right? Even though it's like some girls would see that, think it's like insulting or complain, but you could tell that they're comfortable with each other, and it's about balance, right? At the end of the day.
Well, she's still with him, so that'll answer a lot of questions.
Yeah.
15 years.
Well, she's also a comedian, so I guess she leans on that side of like comedy as like a relief and like something positive. This next video, it's funny, but it relates to those type of girls who don't get that part of like what comedy is about, or like just being like easy.
Look, to answer that question, everybody's relationship is different, right? So everybody kind of matches with their personality and who they are and the values they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can go to a whole different relationship and it could be a total opposite of that, right?
100%.
But you mix in the wrong person and you're not, all of a sudden you're not a match anymore, right? So
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of dating.
Find who accepts you.
That's the whole point of dating. So you can discover who you think could be the potential one, but you get that trial period where you're like, am I gonna pay the subscription, or am I only on trial for now?
Yeah.
Yo, this next clip, bro, is hilarious as fuck because of how true it can be sometimes.
Oh.
When you sent it, I showed my girl like right after we had a little disagreement, and bro, it just lightened up everything.
The whole thing.
It lined up the mood. Yeah, it's
pretty
good.
much the same fucking shit, man. It's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
But
did someone leave? Well, I think Julian left. No.
He cut out.
His connection.
Okay. Should I wait for him or just play it?
We could wait a couple minutes if you want.
Yeah, let's wait for him.
Play it. We're wrapping up anyways.
Fuck it.
I'm so irritated. I am so irritated right now. Why are you irritated? Can you, like, let me get it out and not cut me off, please? Like, really? Can you just let me talk and I will tell you?
Off. I'm just asking why you're irritated. You said you paused after you said you was irritated. So I asked why you was.
I never paused. And now I see that you're getting mad, so I don't even want to talk to you. I'm not going to deal with that.
I'm not mad.
Well, I feel that you're mad, and this is why I can't talk to you.
You can talk to me.
No, I clearly can't.
I was just asking why you were irritated.
You were asking, and then you cut me off when I was trying to tell you. But now
I never cut you off.
You did cut me off, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I never cut you off, though.
You did cut me off, and I was trying to tell you, but now I see that you're gonna get mad and cut me off, so I can't tell you anything now. It's fine.
All I asked was why you was irritated. I was trying to be supportive. I was trying to.
Well, now it is what it is.
Yo, like that.
Are you gonna say something?
Bro, that is too funny. That is hilarious. It's personally for me that's a nightmare because I would never want to.
So hold on, is the video still playing, bro? I'm trying to listen to what is like.
Yeah, it wasn't over if you cut it halfway.
No, it was done. It was done.
Nah, it wasn't.
It's still going.
Shit, okay.
There was a pause.
Oh my god, I'm so irritated. I am so irritated right now.
Why are you irritated?
Yeah, bro, I was trying to listen, guy.
Irritated.
I thought it was done after that part. My bad, boys. But we get the point of it.
Yeah.
We got one more. And this one
more? Okay, let's run it.
This one
move stuff all of a sudden.
This one is hilarious. And Miggy, you can relate to this one. Miggy can relate to this one.
Heck? Don't introduce it like that.
Yeah, I should have put. Okay, you can give context on it.
Damn.
Por favor, sí, son 8 segundos constantes, Sopi, colabora.
Bueno.
No, no se puede hacer posiblemente. No, Sopi. Sopla.
Yeah.
No, sopla solamente.
The cop likes it though.
She's trying to give ideas to the cops. Oh.
3 questions. Was she drunk and horny? Was she drunk and just trying to get out of a ticket?
Yeah.
Was the guy bricked? What do we think? I think she was drunk and horny because I don't know if she was trying to get out of the ticket. Maybe that was like.
I don't think she was horny. I think she was just trying to get out of a ticket by putting ideas into his head. Predictive programming right there.
Yeah, like. Predictive programming.
If that was you, would you be bricked? And would you let her off with a warning? I would.
I don't know. You have to do a lot more than fucking blow on the fucking device. That's for sure.
All I know is I got a personal story. Basically, my girl's aunt was in that situation, and she didn't even drink, but she drank a bunch of coffee and stuff, so she was hyped up, and she's a bad driver. So when she got pulled over, she was like super sketched out. This is one of the first times she's got pulled over. She wasn't even thinking of alcohol. And then the cop gave her the breathalyzer thing. So her just being worried and just getting out of the ticket, she started sucking on the thing. Right?
No.
And it took the cop like 5-6 times for the cop to be like, you gotta blow. And she was just, so scared and worried that she didn't until finally she blew, and then there was nothing there, and the cop was like super confused why this took like an extra 10-15 minutes, and it was all good. But yeah, it could go either way.
Nah.
Oh, so you're just letting people know that you weren't the one. Yeah, personal story comes from somebody that and it wasn't you.
Yeah. Personal story has nothing to do with me. All right, I just making that clear.
Yo, that was too good.
Alright, guys, for whoever hung around throughout the whole way, thank you guys. I hope you got informed. Team put a lot of work in to put together everything from beginning to end for you guys. So we appreciate you guys So thank you for hanging around. This will be the end of number 2, and we'll see you guys next week.